Hi,
Hello,
how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good, it's so nice to see you. Thank you so much for having me
Thank
with you
you.
today.
Yeah, you too. Um, so thanks for hanging out with me today. I just wanted to get on the call and talk a little bit about what it is that what are these sort of supportive networks that people like you and I create around a much bigger experience that people are going through. You are an IVF coach.
Mhm.
Or is it a fertility coach, I guess? And you
Yes,
work mostly with IVF people who are going through IVF.
correct.
Do you just work with people who are going through IVF, or is it more all-encompassing than that?
Well, I kind of expand a little bit my field in the fertility area, because when I started to do IVF, as I went myself through IVF, I had a lot of couples and women too that came and they told me, look, my fertility issue is kind of unknown. They didn't find anything, and I want to know if you could help me maybe to try to create a plan and try to conceive naturally for certain period of time before considering IVF. And this was one of the things I always suggested to people that could try to conceive before jumping into IVF if they have unknown issues. So now I am also, working with people that not only goes through IVF, but they are trying to conceive naturally. And I actually did fertility training program certified that is focusing on hormone and cycling, and it's going to also
Hmm.
help me to focus in both fields, in ART and trying to conceive naturally. Yes.
Interesting. So is that sort of you're certified in that now, or you're going through that?
I am certified now in one program already, which is the Wholesome Lotus Fertility program. And I am in a coaching training with the Hormone Puzzle from Kayla Smith coach. I don't know if you know her. She's also in our community.
Yeah.
That's a longer one. So I am studying. It's a heavy one. It's super complete. So I'm a coaching training, but I am certified in one program, and I am hoping to finish this soon and get certified in that one too. So it will be two programs.
How much do you think hormones play? I mean, obviously hormones play a really big role in both male and female fertility, right? But how much of a problem do our hormones end up creating at the end of the day? Whenever we find ourselves, sort of struggling to get pregnant, what, how often are hormones sort of involved?
Oh, definitely, from what I'm learning, and I wish I would know this when I was younger, even a teenage, to have, kind of apply into my life and not have these fertility issues a lot. Because, for example, we have different kind of hormones that regulate our behaviors. And one of the hormones that regulate, for example, our fertility is, of course, testosterone and estrogen. And, male and women, we have both. Of course, we have more in certain level and less in this, but we need both. So, for example, when we get stressed out, no matter if you're a male or female, so our body release this hormone. What is the name? I forgot. The one that
Cortisol.
is, yes, the cortisol, exactly. And what,
I
thank
was
you
hoping
so
I'd.
much. Yes. So what happened when we have, when our body release that, automatically, for example, our gut, our stomach, all this area gets very tense and inflamed. And it's incredible how that play in the levels of our estrogen and testosterone in both. So when this happens, for example, our estrogen levels can go either too high or too low, and then that can create issues, for example, in blood test results on our hormonal level that can come abnormal, but it's not because of that. It's because we are, for example, handling a situation with a lot of stress. And it can lower our AMH and all of that. And another example that can be very helpful for our fertility, we have our endorphins release our hormones of serotonin and dopamine, right? And I have find something interesting. Most of us think that our serotonin levels are the most quantities in our brain, in the pineal area. Well,
Mm-hmm.
it's not. 70% of our serotonin is in our gut area. It's all the stomach. So when we are happy, our stomach is kind of chill and ease.
Mm-hmm.
And that hormones help the rest of our body, especially in women, because we are the ones that carry the baby in the end of the day. So that helps our ovaries and our uterus at the same time to be relaxed. So when we are stressed or when we are worried or when we have a lot of things to do, and that other hormone of stress release, so we get tense. And in this area is connected, actually, I tell you, I have is connected also with our brain and our pituitary gland that, you know, release also all what is helping us with our fertility. So kind of automatically our body is blocking the capability of create in that moment or in this period of time. So when we balance our hormones by work of mind, you know, physical, and physical is when, for example, you will come here and bring foods that can help to balance our hormones. For example, a wholesome diet help very much to balance it. What happened then, by having balancing in our hormones, our cycles, our menstrual cycles start to become more steady, or women that suffer from PCOS also can start to work on that. So all comes into this kind of balance, and our fertility enhances. And no matter if we're going to try to conceive naturally or if we are going through IVF, like in my case, that can help too. Because you, for example, my periods are super steady, but my both tubes are blocked. So I didn't have another choice but to go through IVF. But even by going through IVF, if I balance and know my hormonal behavior in my body, and I learn to work with that, then I am by default and increasing my possibilities to get pregnant, either via ART or trying to conceive naturally.
It's so interesting how our hormones are involved in our emotions as well. And this is sort of an area where, you know, the word anxiety can come in and create a lot of problems, right? It's one thing to feel anxious and you feel like crap because you're anxious and you're worried for no reason, or you have a reason, but you're more worried than, you know,
than you're supposed to
be.
Yes.
And, you know, that worry that goes through, you know, that cortisol that's creating that feeling of worry is just kind of recycling and recycling. And the less of a handle we have on it, the more stressed out we feel, and that feeling of stress sends more cortisol. So your body is always in this state of kind of shut down.
Yes.
And that's kind of where that imbalance of hormones comes from that you're referring to. I think it's interesting to think about that statistic you just brought up about 70% of your serotonin being in your gut.
Yes.
Because I've heard of our digestive system, or our gut is our second brain.
Totally. It's so
and,
true.
you know, a lot of we always give our brain all the credit, but you know, most, I guess maybe 70% or whatever I know that most of our, you know, neurological signals and messaging happens within our gut. So when we're not eating healthy, or we're out of balance, or we're eating too many types of foods that are really processed, or, you know, not digesting well, it creates that stress signal that's being sent from your brain. It sort of creates that same experience, not even because you're experiencing anything at all, but because you're throwing your digestive health off.
Yes, and you say something very interesting. I was actually, like 10 minutes before we start our live, sending a message to my husband about how our neurotransmitters, I'm sorry about my accent, remember, English is not my main language.
That's okay.
They are very much connected with our gut. And you say that, they say that our gut is our second brain, because it's so true. And and you see all this part of our abdominal part is if we go a little bit deeper, is our the chakra here is a very strong when we are disconnected from here with here. For example, with what you say, we eat sometimes such a crappy foods, you know, like processed foods and all of that that we are putting in our stomach block right away. It's incredible. It's start to communicate with our brain cells and is blocking our pineal area here. When we have that blocked is when we start to work like and to do things like automated. You know, we are not thinking before. Even our words, the fact that we talk with people, we don't think before saying a word, and that creates that tension. And when we are, for example, when we are trying to conceive, when we are looking to be parents, you know, women, men, it doesn't matter. We focus and we are having trouble conceiving. That right there is creating a stress. So what happened, and I always kind of suggest to I don't like to say my clients, but to people that come to me and have fertility issues like I did, is yes, we have a goal, is to be parents, is to have that baby or that babies, but we also need to remember that before getting there, before taking that decision, we had a life. And that's a problem. I've been there, you know, when I wanted to be a mom and I discovered that I couldn't and all of that. So I became so obsessed in just that I forget I had a life. So what I'm doing, I'm putting more pressure on myself from something that I really want, but it's becoming an obsession. So here it comes the unbalance. So I always try to tell people it's easy to say, I know, because I know this kind of conversations can trigger others that are walking that path. It's easy to say, I know it is, and it's really difficult to take action upon it. But at the same time, if I talk from my own experience, so yes, it takes time. It takes time to get there. It takes time to learn. But when we kind of use the tools that we can find, then we are increasing that possibility of getting pregnant naturally or with medical help.
Obviously is really, really high whenever you're going through any kind of treatment, especially, or even if you're just like, don't know what's going on. And we don't tend to think of stress as like a very tangible thing or something that's like here, that's presenting a problem right now. But it actually does. Like it does present, it creates a lot of physical, downsides or physical problems that, maybe we can't see, we can only feel, and we think we can push them away. But in reality, we have to deal with them as if they're an actual, predator in the room or something.
Yes, exactly. And again, I wish I would know all of that, but our generations come with what we learned from our parents. So
right.
I couldn't, they taught me what they thought it was enough, but then through years I learned. So for example, today with my children, with my two girls, I always try to teach them what I learned with the experience. And one of the things I always tell them is that, stress is something that you cannot avoid. It's going to be there. It's going to come in many manifestations, in many ways. But what I usually tell them and also talk to the people that come to my coaching is we need to find the ways and tools that we can use to unleash balance. There is no good without bad. That's the world. The world is based on that balance. Good, bad, black, white. There is sometimes the middle way that you can combine both and try to find that, and that's a balance for some. But definitely when we are going through the journey of parenthood, and we are going, especially with IVF or IUI or, surrogacy, because for example, when it comes to surrogacy to a couple, and also that an egg donor is even worse, you are adding more to the process. So IVF to me was stressful, but okay, I could carry my baby. I was using my own eggs, my husband's sperm and all of that. But for example, couples that there is a egg failure reserve, or they just decide to go through surrogacy. So you are adding to the treatment the surrogacy, the egg donor, you know, the IVF to the egg donor, and is incredibly more stressful. So I always, for example, suggest tools that I can use. I used to do art therapy, like coloring. Coloring it worked for me incredible, because when I found out, and I kind of realized that when I was coloring, after I finished, I could look at what was my final work and see, for example, which colors I use, and I could see how I was how my mood was. And then what happened is, when we do journaling or art therapy or coloring, call it even knitting, or just watch a movie, read a book, do something that we like, what we are doing is not piling up the feelings or the stress. What we are doing is kind of helping our mind to shift to something that is going to distract us from that stress. And when we are distracting, we are balancing. Now, the fact that we are stressed doesn't mean that we need to put the things aside, as you say, you know, like pile up. I always also encourage people that if we are feeling in certain moods, sad, stressful, I don't know, anxious or something, and we don't have that tool, or we can't find anything to help us, what is the best way to help ourselves is allowing to feel that. So, for example, if we feel sad and we feel that we want to cry because this is so stressful, and so cry. You know, cry until you have the last tear. If you want to scream, scream. If you want to curse, curse. Because, you know, why? Because when we are doing that and we are allowing that feelings to flow in our mind and body, and we acknowledge them and take them out somehow with crying, with screaming, with writing a paper and burn it out, or journaling or something, we are empty that space. We are emptying without really letting go of that stress. And then we're going to realize, okay, so I feel a little better. Let me see what I can do. So we have a little bit of space of mind to think and use certain tools.
So it's interesting. It's interesting that you use the word distract, because allowing ourselves to be distracted from what's really happening can sometimes be seen as like no, that's probably not healthy. You need to deal with your emotions right now. But you're saying that it's okay to distract yourself if what's going on emotionally or what's going on around you is kind of overpowering you. It's okay to distract yourself as long as you return to it later to deal with.
Yes. So, you know, I always, and I learned this from another fertility coach too, that she used to tell me, you know, I tell my clients to give 15 to 20 minutes a day to all the cheaty things. And I'm sorry about my mouth, but that's what it is. The cheaty things that you feel during this journey. So sit with that, and sit with them when you feel to. Remember, we need to do things when we feel, you know, when that inner voice is going to tell us, okay, this is the moment. So if we wake up positive, let's see, I used to wake up super positive when I was going through my IVF, and, you know, like I forced myself into that toxic positivity, and then I discovered, what the heck, you know, this is not true. I'm just kind of running away. So she said, if you feel positive, beautiful, wake up positive. The moment that you feel that you cannot handle that super optimistic thing, and you cannot put it more, like pressure yourself into that toxic positivity, that is the moment when you need to sit and allow that feelings. Give it 20 minutes, 15 minutes, and say, okay, shit, this is what is happening. Come on, let's fight. And I'm going to punch you in the face, you know, like, come on. And that's the moment I tell you, cry, scream, even communicate. You know, I always ask lately, I ask myself, how is benefiting me what I am feeling now? What benefit I can find in what I am feeling now? So if I am feeling, look, for example, I give you an example. Like a week ago, the last 2 months, I'm having a lot of personal issues. You know, my husband is being diagnosed with Crohn's disease, and I like to talk sometimes open about me, because that's the only example I can give. And I have been super overwhelmed. So I sit outside and I say, okay, what is this benefiting me? I start to notice that I was losing weight dramatically, Joy, dramatically, like insanely. How, I was feeling weak. I was not eating well. I was so worried. What benefit is bringing me? Is first of all, me, I'm not feeling healthy. I'm not. So when we analyze that, we are also acknowledging that feelings. I feel like crap. Why I need to feel like that? Okay, so I feel like crap. Let me feel like crap for 20 minutes and then move on in life, because if not, I'm going to get here and I'm going to, like disappear. And what. So that's how we deal with that. Now, when we are not feeling too overwhelmed from that negative thoughts, and we feel that we can somehow handle it, that's when I say, okay, distract yourself. Find a little time to see what you can do that can bring you some smile, so coloring therapy, but never go to the place of running away from your feelings. Yeah. Because when this happens, I give you a simple example. When we have our husband, a wife, or partner, and you can even tell me that, and things happen and we are fighting, and the other one is, there is a moment that we need to, like kind of say, okay, to fight, you need to. The same with a journey. When my fertility journey is me and my fertility, to fight, you need to. So if I want to stop to fight, one of the two needs to back up, let the other kill herself, whatever. And that's exactly what we need to do. Okay, so there is a moment that we say, why I need to continue feeling like that? Let me acknowledge, I'm going to see what it is. I fight, like I'm going to confront this feeling. And if the feeling still is bothering me, I need to find a way to kind of jump over, distract myself. And then later on, which is the couple example I tell you, when things are more calmed down, your head is less hot-headed, you can come back and confront them. So then I can come back to my husband, or you can come back to your partner and say, listen, I know that I told you this, blah, blah, blah. It was not the right thing to say. I'm more calm down. Can we talk? Now we need to see if the other party is, and then you can sit and talk. The same with that shitty feelings. When we are super overwhelmed, there is no benefit to just be in a corner and fight them. So kind of, you put that distraction, do something, and then when you are a little bit more calm down, you come and you say, okay, yes, I feel like this, what I'm getting from it, why I'm feeling like that. So I'm feeling like that because this journey is stressful, because I am scared that I'm not going to get pregnant, because I'm scared that if I get pregnant, I'm going to lose the baby, because of all. And then you start to find the reasons, and then you say, okay, there is reasons why I'm feeling like that, but I cannot do anything. Joy, this specifically infertility, we cannot control this. We can't. There is nothing we can control. We need to just do our best to make it better and to increase the possibility of a positive outcome. Right. But we cannot control it. We cannot say, okay, I'm going to do it and I'm going to get pregnant. No. So what we can do, so I always say, if we have a situation that we cannot control, like it's in general in life, the only thing I can control is the way I react to it. Right. So it's my choice, So I choose either to be miserable and be unhappy for the rest of the journey. And the only thing I'm going to do is to put more negative things and decrease the possibility of getting the baby. Or I choose to confront them, find tools and resources to handle it, and move on.
So the things that you respond to, of course we can't control the infertility part of it. But you're saying what we can control is the way we respond to the negative emotion or the negative, outcome that we're having. And it's all of those responses, whether it be like how I respond emotionally or how I respond to what I'm eating, because when I know what I'm eating makes me feel or have different outcomes. It's all of those responses that help to get you to the end result in a healthier way.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you know where I learned that? I learned that with, I don't know if you ever heard about Dr. Bruce Lipton. He talks a lot about epigenetics, and it's epigenetics is what we can change. We can really change and modify our genetic things through changing in our lifestyle, our food. So the fact that, for example, you know, if in a family there is a woman that for 4 generations, her great grandmother, the grandmother, and the mother had breast cancer, or they died from that, we automatically, you know what happened? We put in our mind, oh my gosh, I am going to have it. Let me do a double mastectomy. No, we can change our genetics. So what we can do, what I can do to change that, to balance, to switch it, is the same with our mindset. Epigenetics is choice too. We have it, you know, listen, easy. Pain happens. Pain is something that happens in life. When we lose someone, when we lose our parents, when we lose our children, you know, and we go through it. How we go through it, we have two choices. Either we go through it with the process of grieving, you know, the denial, the crying, all the shitty thing that we feel and we don't want to feel because it's a terrible pain, but then we discover that we can move on, or we just drawn into the darkness and stay there. There is, you know, suffering is a choice. Pain exists, we handle it, we confronted it, but to be stuck in suffering is a choice. It's a choice. And it can sound, again, triggering, it can sound a little bit rough, whatever, but this is something I always try to go straight. Yes, infertility is difficult. There is no doubt. Yes, I went through 5 cycles and that's nothing. I have seen and meet couples and women that have gone to 16 cycles. I have a friend in UK that she went through 22 cycles until she had her own boy and she's happy. And she was so many times, like she used to say, sometimes I feel that I want just to kill myself, like literally. She didn't. She chose to kill herself. She chose to continue and eventually have the baby. And there is other couples, another woman that says, okay, you know what? It's enough. I tried my best. I did what I can do. Now I need to live my life. Let me be happy with my husband, and they sit and they choose. So you see, it's always about choices.
Yeah. It's interesting that you say that because I'm working on this project right now to basically it's a tool that I'll use to like speak to doctors and sort of, you know, show them the sort of connections that there are between not just infertility, but like, you know, having a healthy pregnancy and nutrition.
Yes.
Right? And it's so difficult. You know, what I want to say is like, you know, the way you eat has a direct impact on your success of your, you know, your pregnancy outcome, or whether or not, you know, PCOS is going to affect your outcomes or whatever. And I realized, like, as I'm writing all this stuff down and kind of laying it out where it needs to be, you know, I'm having to basically create a mind map of like how that statement actually makes sense. And it actually, there is not an actual direct link between nutrition and fertility, right? That's just not, it's not that easy. But there are lots and lots and lots of indirect links between nutrition and fertility that, and there are enough and they are strong enough that it does make sense to you know, make the claim that nutrition has a lot to do with fertility, right? So
I will say definitely that it has a lot to do, to be honest.
But I get caught up myself trying to make this like direct connection, and there's not. It's just a very messy thing. And I think that's worth saying, because whether it's your emotions or, you know, what you're eating, if these things are pulling you away from the outcome you want, then you got to stop focusing on the outcome you want, and you got to focus on the things that are pulling you in other directions.
Totally agree. That's definitely, yeah. Just say it. That's what it is. Because, you know, I can be doing, I can be, okay, let me think that I'm going to get pregnant. But if I am eating crap food, or I'm drinking wine every day, or I'm drinking 10 coffees a day, how the heck I'm going to do that? I can think, oh, yes, put it. That's what I tell you when it comes to toxic positivity. You say, oh, just think. Yes, it's very true that our words and what we manifest, it's powerful, but it needs to be combined with action. You know what I mean?
And it's funny because I was just about to say that too about manifestation. The idea of manifesting what you want is so woo-woo and spiritual and air, but it does work, because I think people make the mistake of, oh, I'm going to manifest what I want by just thinking about it. But the reality is, how is it actually that manifesting or thinking about it or writing it down or journaling, how is it that that's leading to where we want? It's not because we're just thinking it and suddenly the universe says, you thought about it enough, you can have it.
Exactly.
It's because you thought about it or you've written it down enough times that now you have kind of rewired your brain to look for the things that are going to send you in that direction of where your goal is.
Totally. Is what, yes, exactly is that. It's taking action upon the manifestation that you just thought. So
yeah.
If I want to lose weight, I'm not going to just say I lose weight and then I go and eat like crazy. How?
Right.
It's just taking action upon that things that we manifest. There's plenty of books, the universe has your back. Yes, universe work to things, and there is things that we don't know even why they happen, but we also need to take action upon it, and that is a connection. And what you say, manifestation is taking so woo. Oh yes, this, and no, it's not like that. We need to walk through it and take action upon it.
Yeah, there's still work involved. It's,
Absolutely.
You can manifest, but you're a part of that manifestation. You're not just like calling the shots.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Well, thank you for hanging out with me today. I feel like we could talk about these things obviously all day long. I always look at the clock and I'm like, how did 30 minutes pass already?
Yes, I know.
But I hope that, I'll post this later, and I hope that, we spark some ideas and manifest some ideas in other people's minds about, how to get to where they want to be. And
enjoy.
If people want to reach out to you, they can obviously tag you in this.
Yes.
Going through IVF or just trying to get pregnant and having trouble with it is not something that anybody should be doing alone anyway. It should require a team and a family and a chosen family and as much support as possible. And like we already talked about, it obviously is emotional, but we can't discount how much power those emotions have over our health and our outcomes. So we need to take that seriously. So I hope that people will, somebody will reach out to you, and we've said something that is helpful for them as well.
Thank you so much, Joy. It's always an honor to talk to you. And like you said, we can go these for hours. Just, when you have this published, let me know. You can send me the link, and I also publish it in my account, and we reach more people.
All right. Good to talk to you. See you soon.
Okay, bye.